Hello guys, my name is Helena. I'm an English teacher. This video lesson is a part of my course on how to write IELTS essays. Let's begin. Lesson 5. As usual, I'm going to start with a quick plan for this lesson, and here we'll look at how to write an introduction and ways of paraphrasing. So, to write an introduction, you need to follow 2 easy steps. Step 1, paraphrase the topic. Step 2, paraphrase the task. In other words, tell the reader what your plan for this essay is. Some teachers and examiners also call this mini plan for your essay a thesis statement. And it's quite important that you have it because it helps overall cohesion, organization of the essay, and it also helps you personally to once again focus on what the task of the essay is. Now let's look at these 2 steps in action. Here is the prompt I've been using in this course. Here we go. So, obesity has become a serious health issue worldwide. Discuss ways to solve the problem. And here is how I paraphrased the given topic and the task. Being dangerously overweight is a health concern that affects people in almost every country and therefore should not be taken lightly. This essay will suggest a variety of solutions to the issue of obesity. And that would be my introduction. An introduction that is suitable for an exam essay. Before I move on, I once again want to emphasize that in the last sentence of my introduction, I told the reader what the essay is going to be about. That is, I gave the reader a short plan of my essay, and I strongly recommend that you do the same in your introductions, guys. One more point, which is important. I know that some people may disagree with this 2-step approach. And of course, it's possible to write introductions that are more complex and longer than this one. However, if we talk about exam conditions where the time is limited, this 2-step approach will always give you a good introduction. Now, since both steps of this approach ask you to paraphrase, let's have a look at how you can do that. Ways of paraphrasing. Let me bring the prompt up again, as well as my introduction. And now we'll look at the most common and relevant ways of paraphrasing. And for that, I'm going to split my screen into 2 parts. On the left, you'll see the ways of paraphrasing, and on the right will be the examples. Let's start. Okay, so first of all, to paraphrase, you need to naturally use synonyms and antonyms, which are words and expressions that are similar for synonyms or opposite for antonyms in meaning. For example, in my introduction, I replaced the word issue from the topic in the prompt with the word concern. This is a typical example of a word-by-word paraphrase using a synonym. So issue was replaced with the word concern. Also, you can not only replace one word with another, you can also replace a word with a synonymic expression. For example, in my introduction, I replaced the word worldwide with the expression almost in every country. Now, I have to give you a word of caution here. I already mentioned this in the first lesson, but it's an important point, and it's worth mentioning again. Guys, when you practice writing your essays and you use synonyms, please be careful and check the exact meaning of those synonyms. Next. Now, the second way to paraphrase is change the part of speech. For example, you can change nouns into verbs. That's easy. You can change verbs into gerunds, and so on. Let's have a look at the examples from the given prompt and the introduction. In the task of the prompt, we have the verb solve, to solve. And in my introduction, I replaced it with the noun solutions. So solve can be replaced with solutions. Another example is the noun obesity, which you can see at the beginning of the prompt, which I changed into actually a whole phrase with a gerund, being dangerously overweight. So I used here a gerundial phrase actually to replace one noun. Let's put it in the examples and move on. Of course, it's possible to use different prefixes and suffixes with this paraphrasing method. I just didn't happen to use them in my introduction here. But to give you an example, the noun government can be changed into the adjective governmental. And if you've just started preparing for your exam and you're learning new vocabulary for it, you need to start paying attention to the different word forms because you can use them in the paraphrasing. Moving on, paraphrasing method number 3 is modify a word. What does this mean? In the simplest terms, you just need to add another word or phrase to the original word. This is actually a small life-saving hack for you guys because sometimes there are words in the prompt that are very difficult to replace with a synonym or a different form. For example, in this case, the words issue and problem are synonyms, and they are both already in the prompt. They've been used in the prompt. And it is very difficult to find another synonym here. However, I still had to paraphrase the task somehow. So I used the word issue again, but I added a few extra words to it. The issue of obesity. Let me put it in the examples. Also, it's a good idea to use this method in general in your essays, even if you're not paraphrasing. For example, I used the word solutions in my introduction already, and I could stop here, but I decided that my sentence would look nicer if I also modified the word solutions with another word, which I did. I used the phrase a variety of solutions. There we go. And now moving on to one more way of paraphrasing, way number 4, which is change or add grammar. For example, if the sentences in the prompt are positive, you can make them negative. I mean, you can use a not in your paraphrase. Or if you have active voice in the prompt, you can use passive voice in your introduction. For example, I paraphrased the word serious from the prompt into should not be taken lightly in my introduction. In this phrase, should not be taken lightly, I used passive voice, be taken lightly. I used a negative, not be taken lightly, and I also added a modal verb, should not be taken lightly. Such an interesting grammar twist, which will for sure be noticed by the examiner. And there we go, guys. These are the paraphrasing ways that I suggest you use in your introductions, as well as in the body paragraphs and conclusions of your essays. Needless to say, for a good paraphrase, you'd use all of these methods together. Many students tend to over-rely on synonyms, and then their paraphrases sound somewhat mechanical, which is not a good thing. So practice and try to use all of these methods. And that is the end of lesson 5. I hope you liked this lesson and found it useful. If you'd like to see more lessons like this on this channel, please remember to like, subscribe, and comment on this video. See you in lesson 6.